Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back, as always, to another video on the channel. It's Ansonex, and today we're going to be talking about some Dynamo. Off the jump, though, want to apologize. I'm a little bit behind getting this one up. I'm going to be doing this one in a one-shot to try and catch on up and get this one up kind of quick, but we'll talk more about that later. We're going to talk about Dynamo today and why I've found Dynamo, so much fun over the past few days. As someone who considered himself a DPS player, but I can definitely see myself playing more Dynamo than anybody else going forward. And so I just want to talk about that a little bit and why I think if you're a DPS player, why I think should be looking at Dynamo as a character that you should be adding to your roster. And that's to start out, like, I was just real frustrated playing DPS over the past kind of week. I had a real frustrating week in general too, but just on top of that, you come home, you want to play some video games, you want to have some fun, and you can't because you're not playing well. And so I was just real frustrated over the past week because on top of that, I was fiddling with my builds. I was probably not buying as many vitality items as I should have been. And just kind of struggling mid-game, dying a lot. And if you look back at my videos, just to make a comment about this, like, they're kind of for me too. If you go and like watch that gameplay, there are a lot of my own rules that I break all the time. Like, I'm very much so still trying to get better. Like, I have a long way to go to get better at this game, and so I hope you kind of join me along for the journey in that, but my videos are definitely for me as well, and so there are plenty of mistakes that I make, and that kind of goes in to my next point, is that I was so frustrated with dying in team fights that I started to blame my team, which is never, ever, ever the right thing to do. You are only going to get worse at the game if you are blaming your team in a team fight, but moments of frustration, we all have them. Kind of in that vein, you don't want to be blaming your team. And so I knew that I needed to be doing something a little bit different, but I wasn't sure what. And so I figured, you know what, let's just get away from DPS in general. I knew I needed to add a support character to my game, kind of, and so, or to my roster, just because, you know, sometimes you don't get your first or your second pick, and sometimes, like, Infernus was my third pick, kind of, and I wasn't, I like him, but I'm not not my favorite. I don't, like, every time I get Infernus, I'm kind of like, okay, I have to play Infernus now. And so I knew I needed to add a support character somewhere along the way, and so I figured, you know what, I had seen clips of Dynamo, I like Dynamo, I love his ult, I thought it would be super fun, so I started playing Dynamo, and he's cracked. I'm pleased to report. I fell in love instantly with Dynamo. I love this guy. And that's not because he does like tons of damage. You can do lots of damage with Dynamo. I saw a build called the Impregnator, which made me laugh so fucking hard. But I've been playing a build called Pizza Delivery Dynamo, which we'll talk more about in a second. But I love Dynamo, not because he does a ton of damage, but because he's a super high impact character. And when you get down to the brass tacks, and another segue if you'll allow me for a minute, I recently learned it's not brass TAX, it's brass tacks, like thumbtacks you put in the wall. That fucking blew my mind. But get back to it, neither here nor there. The reason that I love DPS is because it's a obvious high impact role on the game. You end the game with 20 kills. Yeah, no shit, you did pretty good. And I just loved like melting enemies. Like that's I love feeling powerful, and it was awesome to in the game kind of like work that out playing a DPS character, whether it's Vindicta, where at the late game, like, you're just melting people, or you can just ult people down from half HP, or Wraith, where you just burst people from 100 to 0. Those have been my two favorite characters up to now. And I still love those characters. I'll be playing plenty of them in the future, don't worry. But I love those because they have obvious high impact on the game. And while the Dynamo build doesn't do a ton of damage, the Pizza Delivery Dynamo is the build that I've been using. He delivers a super high impact through his ult, which is one of, if not the most impactful ult in the game. I'm struggling to think of, but like I still haven't played enough of this game where I know every single ult off the top of my head, kind of. So if you think that there's one that's more impactful, I'm very curious. Let me know in the comments, just because like I'm still trying, you know, I'm still absolutely learning and like trying to rank in my head, okay, which characters are better than which ones, and like I'm still absolutely at the beginning of that journey. So let me know what you think down in the comments, if you think that there is a ult that's more impactful than Dynamo's, because for me it's hard to think of. And because in the late game, you can like kind of single-handedly end a game in a perfect scenario, you know, where you've got the team grouped up and you can kind of turn a team fight. But like, there's so many times where like I've run around a corner and been able to save my friend's life. Either it's through the ult or like just healing, or if you combine healing Nova with his healing ability, which is just so sick. I get pumped just thinking about Dynamo. All right, I may or may not, part of the reason that this video is coming out on Monday and not Sunday, may or may not because I spent a bunch of time, well, I did watch Penguin last night, but also playing Dynamo. I think you guys can kind of see why I write much more like kind of concrete scripts for my videos. I go all over the place. But getting back to Dynamo, he's just an uber well-rounded character. You can like really easily farm in the mid game, which is like with Vindicta is something that I find a real fucking pain in the ass, is if you have to farm at all if you find yourself behind. It can just be a real pain. Wraith not quite as much because you got the cards that are very helpful, but you can, with Dynamo, with the Stomp, you can farm in the mid game. You can be a menace in lane, given the right opponent, and the right opponent has also had enough beers in their system. If you get a solo lane, it's a little bit jank sometimes. I thought that Dynamo, for a long time, didn't get solo lanes. Let me know if I'm wrong about that, because I could have sworn that I read somewhere, I read in a few places that Dynamo didn't get solo lanes, but maybe when they redid like the whole party lane structure thing, they changed that up. Let me know if you know. I'm very curious about that. But and then in the late game, which we just talked about earlier, a major deciding factor, maybe the biggest one. I don't know. Well, let me know what you think. And so the thesis of this video, guys, is to really try other characters, which is kind of obvious, but I thought I had found my role in being the DPS player, and, I was playing, Wraith, Infernus, Haze, Vindicta, the kind of characters in those lines, but really what I wanted was a high impact. What I want to be is a high impact player, and Dynamo has helped me facilitate those goals over the past few days and just really be the high impact player that I want to be, which you can really do with any character. But I mean, I'm playing the video game to, see things happen, have some fun here, turn into a black hole and suck in my enemies, and then me and all my buddies can scream and shout and virtually high-five after it goes well. I don't know about you, but that's kind of why I got into this whole video game thing in the first place. So let me know what you guys think. Have you been playing any characters that you think are really fun recently? I'm very curious to hear you down in the comments. So let me know what you think. I'm very, very interested. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I do apologize for the video coming out on Monday. I am gonna just had a whole, it's been a real busy fall for me with moving and this and that, and you can hear all about those struggles if you want to go look at some Baldur's Gate episodes. But I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I hope that if you did enjoy the video, you like and subscribe, and I'd love to hear your opinion down in the comments. I've been writing back to every comment, and I love that. I love being able to talk to you guys. So please let me know what you think. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will stream at some point this week, I promise. So I will see you at some point this week, if not next weekend. Have a fantastic, fantastic week. I'll see you. Peace.